The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
People get ready for the train to come. You don't need no baggage, you just need on board. You need a faith to hear the Jesus.
Hello, everybody out there listening to Armed Radio tonight. I hope you're all doing well. We're being broadcast live from Boston, Massachusetts. And I just wanted to welcome everybody back to our show, All Aboard, with me, Donald Whisman, and my co-host and friend, Todd Doyle.
Hello, everybody out there listening on Armed Radio tonight. I want to give a big Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all our listeners. I hope everybody's having a great night. And if you want to follow Donald and I on Facebook, join our group on Facebook, Trump 2020 ! Next month, we do free giveaways every month. And next month, we're giving away camouflage from one of our group members, Les Skymo. It's called Skymouflage, and it's a great outfit and set. You know, if you want to join and play some of the giveaways with us and learn more about what's going on in the country, join us at Trump 2020 ! On Facebook.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Todd. But yeah, everybody out there, don't forget the exclamation point. That's very important. Trump 2020 ! And Todd, as always, I just want to send my prayers out to all the men and women serving in our military. God bless each and every one of you out there, past and present. And Todd, I had the show all ready tonight, but like I was telling you earlier, it seems like there was no breaking news all week up until like the last 6 hours here, and we've had some breaking news, and I'll go over some breaking news. Yeah, we've had a lot, Todd. Now, I'll go over this stuff. If you want to chime in when I'm done, feel free to. Then I want to get to this analogy I made tonight. I've got a really good analogy, Todd, and I think you're going to like it. But okay. I think the people will like it. But anyway, we got some new breaking news about North Korea. They did fire off another missile today. It traveled I think it was 620 miles. And this was a ballistic missile. I don't know if there was an explosion or not, but things are starting to heat up. It landed in the water somewhere off of Japan, but things are really heating up. I've been talking about Korea now for a month or so. I'm really scared of Korea. And one thing about Korea, though, is where everybody gets mistaken is our new president did not create Korea, Todd. Do you have anything you want to say about Korea? North Korea.
Yeah, Rocket Man needs to defuse himself with all his little rockets. And General Mad Dog Mattis has said today, Donald Trump and he did a press conference, and Mattis has said that North Korea's intercontinental ballistic missiles could hit anywhere in the United States, and the ICBMs, and it could go anywhere. And Trump said we're going to deal with them, and he said that we're going to have to handle North Korea, and I'm sure that could mean all options are open. And you got somebody lobbing off rockets that could start World War III. We got to do something. So I hope that our State Department and our military men and women at the Pentagon are doing their jobs and doing them well. And I hope this de-escalates, if it can, and if not,
right.
I hope it's swift.
There's a lot of people out there. They're really blaming our president. I'm sorry, folks, but they're blaming our president for not doing enough. And I can say this, Todd. You were right about this, and I was right about this. This North Korean thing, this could escalate into World War III and heavy domino effect, because I'll tell you later about China. They've unveiled a new weapon, and I'll talk about it in a little bit. But anyway, I'll move on to new breaking news. The Russians, I found out the Russian government is they're going to try to build their own independent internet. Why? I don't know. You got anything about that, Tom?
Well, I know the internet was handed over to ICANN, and it's not. We used to be in charge of the internet. It was started as a DOD operation. Our government had the internet. Wasn't the internet we have now, but it was the former first, prototype of the internet. And it was all handled by the United States, and we had nodes, they're called nodes, in all different kinds of countries. But if I did not hear the Russia story that they're trying to build their own, that would probably be a security reason for them to, just get out of the whole internet. But
I think that's what it was, Todd, for security purposes, and how they meddled in our elections and stuff. That may be a reason for that. But
any country could make their own. It just wouldn't be compatible with other countries' internet, so it would be limited. And China actually blocks people from accessing any content outside of China because China has a state-run media, like some of those other communistic countries. Even Saudi Arabia has a state-run media, and others. And
don't you think it'd be a good idea that the United States should block our internet too, so they don't know what we're talking about over here?
No, I don't believe in blocking anything. I think the free flow of information is the best way to go. I'm actually a supporter of groups like WikiLeaks and getting information out to people. Now, I know if you look at it from a military perspective, when someone leaks information that's classified, I realize that people are put in danger by that, but I also realize, like with some of the stories that they've broke, that our government has gotten out of control, and we would have never known about the secret spy program if it wasn't for people like Edward Snowden who took those risks, and now we know. And so if we have a government that's hiding things and lying to the people, I think that we have to give a little credit to the whistleblowers who stand up and do something and try to, and they're living in exile right now, and
Well, anything to do with the military, that should be on a secure channel anyway. But anyway, let's move on to the next breaking news today. President Trump today hinted that a government shutdown may be on the horizon. Now, I think he met with old Chucky Schumer and old Nancy Pelosi today, and he said that, that the government, it may come to a close, but Trump did tweet this, Todd. He did tweet. The problem is they want illegal immigrants flooding into our country unchecked, and they're weak on crime, and they want to raise taxes. And Trump, the last thing he said in his tweet, I don't see a deal. You can't deal with these people, Todd. You just can't deal with them.
No, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are the king and queen of the dysfunctional, obstructionist Democratic Party. That's what they are. They're obstructing every move they can try to obstruct with Trump. They don't want to come to the table rationally because we're how many trillion in debt? It came down some, but we're still $19 trillion in debt.
Yeah.
So this spending they want to spend for a pathway to citizenship to build up their voter blocks. That's all it's about, and I hope the American people get it.
Well,
that the DACA stuff and trying to give illegal citizenship, it's all about building up that Democratic voter base, that block. That's all it is.
Well, after my analogy tonight, maybe we can make better sense out of these Democrats. I hope we can. But another breaking story that I seen today, Todd, was we got Iranian warships heading to the Gulf of Mexico. Now,
that's a mistake on their part.
Well, I'll tell you, it is, Todd. And they say tensions are really flaring up between the Iranian Revolutionary Guards and the U.S. Navy. I think that's crazy. I just think that's totally insane.
Here's what's going to happen. Obama was a lame duck president, and even Russia sent a submarine up on the coast of California and got in our waters. Trump is not going to play those games. People don't understand. He's a strong leader, and strong leaders do not get pushed around by other countries. Now, if the Democrats want to try to politicize everything Donald Trump does, they're going to learn, and they might have to learn the hard way if our nation has to go to war. But if we have to go to war with North Korea or Iran, the Democrats are going to have to suck it up because the whole country's at stake. That's what war is.
It's peace through strength, Todd. Peace through strength, brother. And Todd, I got to say this, because this woman has really gotten on my nerves, and I hope I'm not cutting out. I hope my mic's working.
No, I hear you fine.
Well, anyway, Elizabeth Warren, she needs to shut her big mouth. She's saying that our president is a racist because he called her Pocahontas. Look what that lady did with this Indian thing that she claims that she's an Indian. She tried to use that to her advantage to get into some kind of college. Am I right about that, Tom?
You're right about that. She claimed that she was...
I can't stand that lady, man.
Well, there's an article out from one of these slanted liberal news groups, and I mean, it's all slanted. So the article I read about this said that... about that Donald Trump was a racist president because he called her Pocahontas as a racial slur.
Oh.
I mean, that's what they actually believe, and that's not a racial slur. It's a person's name, and it's awful funny. It took them a year to come up with this new lie they're trying to sell, that it's a racial slur. It was a person's name, and it was used in Walt Disney films. There's actually a Disney film called Pocahontas. Is Walt Disney a racist for saying the name? It's just an analogy. These people with common sense conservatives know it's an analogy.
All right. You want to hear another good analogy? I'm ready to tell you. Now, Todd, I've kept this analogy from you for a reason, because I wanted to see how you think, what you think about my analogy tonight. You know I make up these corny analogies, and some people enjoy them, some people don't. And there's going to be some people out there that probably thinks I'm crazy. But, Todd, I've got a really big imagination, and I think everybody should have an imagination. I think having a good imagination is wonderful for everyone. But let me get started, Todd. Shall I get started with this?
Yeah.
And I want your true opinion if this makes some sense to you. Now, my analogy tonight is about our country. Now, now, everybody out there, please keep an open mind. Please keep an open mind. Now, let's look at this country as a big old pizza, okay? Let's look at this country as a big old deluxe, fresh, piping hot pizza. And now, I'm not trying to take anything away from the Italians. I know that pizza came from Italy, but I'm talking about a big American pizza, Todd. Are you with me so far?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Now, I've got to take you back to the 13 colonies when we were under British rule. Now, let's just pretend for a minute, okay, that the British back in those days, when we were under their rule, they were sending us this stuff they called pizza, and it was nasty, Todd. I mean, this was some nasty stuff. We just didn't like their pizza, Todd. The crust was made out of like cornbread, and the topping was like rotten cheese and stuff. And so basically, the American people got tired of eating this pizza that was shoved down the American people's throat. So our founding fathers, what they did, Todd, and you could use this as like the Declaration of Independence, they kind of got together and they sent a letter over to the King of Britain, and they basically said, listen, King, we over here in North America and living in these 13 colonies, we're tired of your pizza. We don't want your pizza anymore. We think we can make better pizza, okay? So so we go to war, the Revolutionary War. We won the Revolutionary War, by the way. So later on, we came up with a recipe for this new pizza, this American pizza. Now, you could call that the Constitution of the United States. Now, it gets better, though. So the pizza is great. They make the Constitution, which is, I'll say, the recipe for the pizza, okay? Now, our country is, 241 years old, going on 242 years old. And we've had, we're at our 45th president. And, through time, we've changed presidents. We've had different senators and different congressmen. People throughout the 241 years have taken away toppings. They've added stuff. They've put cheaper toppings on it. But now, let's move up to the mid-1980s, Ronald Reagan, okay? Here's where it gets good. Now,
are you referring to the presidents as the chef of the pizza?
Let's say they're the chef. Yes. Thank you. Now, we move up to President Reagan, which is, let's call him Chef Reagan, okay?
Okay.
Now Reagan took this pizza that was kind of messed up because we did have some lopsided presidents. I'm not going to talk bad about our presidents. I respect each and every one of them, but they messed our pizza up a little bit, okay? So what Reagan did in the 80s is he came in and he made that pizza. He put it back to the original ingredients, back to the way the original recipe was, which was the Constitution of the United States. And you could look at our rights, our amendments, That's the toppings. We the people we can put toppings on our pizza, okay? So you can look at that as like our rights. But anyway, now we go to Bill Clinton. Now, by the time Bill Clinton becomes president, a lot of the Democrats, they'll tell you, oh, times were good in the 90s. Times were great. No, Todd, it wasn't. It's because at the time Bill Clinton the pizza was good in the Bill Clinton years, but it just took time for Reagan's pizza to get delivered out there. It wasn't as fast as Domino's, so, okay?
Right.
So
right.
It took time, like, Reaganomics. It took time. And everybody gave Bill Clinton credit for this good pizza, but it was actually pizza that Donald Trump or Ronald Reagan had made, okay?
Right.
So now it takes me to somewhere right after Reagan left office to the very point that Donald Trump took the oath, okay? That pizza that we had, that great American pizza, somewhere along the line turned into nothing but raw pizza dough. And actually, Todd, some people out there really like to eat raw pizza dough, apparently. And they're happy with it. They were fine with it. They're like sheep. We'll eat raw pizza dough. But the minute our president, the 45th president of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, took the oath, he basically, Todd, he took that raw dough, he spread it out on the pan, by golly, he took some sauce, he put it on that pizza, he added cheese on that pizza, Todd, he put pepperoni on there, he put sausage on there, and he told the American people to put your favorite toppings on that pizza, Todd. And I'll tell you, if Donald Trump can make a pizza great again, and I'll tell you, he's making America great again. And people, if you like eating raw dough, well, go back and eat that raw dough, because I'm going to eat my American pizzas that Donald Trump's making. What do you think about that, Todd?
I think that's a good analogy. I think liberals that love their spoon-fed bullshit, the dry dough, they crave the bullshit and the lies. They eat up, they slurp up whatever the media tells them, and they don't care if it tastes good because they're so used to eating like a carcass of what our country used to be. These are the enemies of freedom, the people that want to change the law without changing the law, the speech police, the political correctness, the anti-family, the anti everything.
That's
on the left.
People who want to eat that raw dough. I mean, you see what
That's
I'm saying?
correct.
You see
Yes,
how I'm
I
coming
do.
from? Now that makes sense to me. Now I know some people out there, well, this guy's crazy, but I do a lot of thinking, Todd. And another thing, you've got me thinking about this. I've heard you talk about this for many a times now, the deep state. Now, Todd, when you first started talking about the deep state, I really didn't know what you was talking about. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't lie.
Okay.
So I looked up the deep state, Todd, and I've got the meaning. Then I'm going to say something. Then I want you to say what you got to say about the deep state, okay, Todd?
Okay.
This is where I'm going to really get you fired up tonight, brother.
Okay.
And anyway, so you mentioned the deep state. I've heard you talk about it many times. So I looked it up, and the definition is it's a body of people, typically influential members of government agencies or the military, believed to be involved in the secret manipulation of control of government policy. Now, that tells me, and that I know that the deep state is real, because there was a conference back in mid-July, and Barack Obama's former CIA director, John Brennan, now we got a new one now, his name's Mike Pompeo, but back then, Barack Obama's former CIA agent director, John Brennan, remarked that the executive branch officials have an obligation to refuse to carry out outrageous or anti-democratic orders from President Donald Trump. That comment right there, Todd, was a threat to our republic. Rush Limbaugh took that story, he made it public, and he actually called it a coup, Todd, a coup against our country.
Okay,
What do you think? Tell me about the deep state, brother. What's going on with the deep state?
Well, for one, John Brennan should have never said something like that, to refuse a president's orders. That is the mentality of the people that want to undermine Trump's presidency. If they were pro-America, they'd be pro-Trump. So they're not pro-America. We have all this evidence with the Clinton Foundation and the WikiLeaks emails. And one of the emails in WikiLeaks, people can go and look this up if they're not aware, talks about the 7th floor group inside the State Department, which is like a shadow government operation. There's one thing. Then we know with Hillary Clinton's secret email server, that's another shadow operation, because Sidney Blumenthal was not elected. He was not part of any government group. He was an outside personal friend of the Clintons that did all this work for her shadow government operation where she's making all these deals for the Clinton Foundation and not the American people like Donald Trump is doing. So I want to stress that again, that Donald Trump is making deals for all of us, not their criminal friends at the Clinton Foundation. But the deep state itself is a combination of intelligence agency holdovers from Obama and before. I've mentioned a couple times that there were elements of the Bush Sr. and Bush Jr. presidencies with the Carlyle Group, those types of elements. Any person that's in any intelligence agency or working for our government that is not pro-America, they could even be a foreign national that is hired on to work at the Pentagon for some reason or another as a translator. If they're not pro-America, they shouldn't be working for our government, number one. Number two, if they're anti-America and actively working to undermine the sovereignty of our country, then our pro-American elements in the CIA and other groups need to be investigating, who these people are and what they're doing. But we know from declassified documents that the Operation Mockingbird, when that came out, that the intelligence agencies have their operatives inside the media, the newspaper industry, the radio. They're all over. And part of that is to confuse and disorient the American public, so we never come together, we never unify, and we're more easily controlled.
I knew I was going to fire you.
Like sheep.
I knew I was going to. Yes, Todd, you're right. Sheep and cattle, brother.
Yeah.
But let's move on a little bit, Todd. Let's talk about the United States Constitution. You want to talk about the Constitution
Sure.
a little bit? Do you know who wrote the Constitution? Or should I say, who is the main architect of our United States Constitution?
Go ahead.
James Madison. And
that's what I thought.
And a lot of people, Todd, they think, when they think about the United States Constitution, most of us think about our rights, but did you know that most of the Constitution is more about the powers of the federal government? Did you know that?
And limiting the powers also. Any power not given in the Constitution to the federal government, it automatically goes to the states. The states were the ones that were supposed to hold supreme power over the federal government because the federal government was created to serve the states, and that's the people.
And you're right, Todd. But there's government powers, and we have our amendments, which is our rights as the people. But
we also have state constitutions with other rights.
You're right, Todd. You are right. I agree with you on that. But our Constitution, I know a lot of people. Me and Alex did a video the other day, and I was telling him he had a Constitution right in his hand. A lot of people running around our country today, they think, well, I can do what I want. I live in a free country. But Todd, there's nowhere in the Constitution that says we live in a free country. There is nowhere in there that says that. We are an authoritarian country. We do have laws to abide by. It's just not free, Todd. And another thing, when people say, I have a freedom of speech, I can say whatever I want. But that's not true, Todd. You cannot walk into a place where you work and start talking about politics or religion because your laws just won't allow that. You can't walk into a man's house. That would be like me coming into your house around your mother or your child and start cussing. You know what I mean? We really don't have a freedom of speech. We really
But the
don't.
NFL can kneel during a game for attention.
That's sick, Todd. You're right, but it is sick. It is sick. We don't have a freedom of speech, but they can kneel. Good point, Todd. I like that. But shoot, now I've lost track of what I was saying. But anyway, moving along, the Pledge of Allegiance. Do you know when that was written, Todd?
I don't know the year, Donald.
All right, well, I looked this stuff up because I think I love history, Todd. The Pledge of Allegiance was written in August of 1892 by a guy named Francis Bellamy. Now, in 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower urged Congress to legislate that under God be added to it. Now, Todd, I just love history, man. Now, I didn't know that Dwight Eisenhower did that, and I think that was great that he added God to our Pledge of Allegiance. And I wanted to tell you, Todd, that I went to my grandson's school the other day because it was Grandparents' Day, and I was talking to the principal. Now, this all goes back to our president, and I asked the principal. I said, "Do the kids still say the Pledge of Allegiance?" Because you know that when me and you were young, we had to stand up every morning and say the Pledge of Allegiance. You know what she told me, and I was surprised.
What?
She said yes. We just started doing it here recently. So I didn't say any more to her. So I thought in my head, I said, well, it must be something to do with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is bringing patriotism back to this country. And another thing, Todd, the sales of flags, and I know you're going to talk about the stocks, but I'm going to get this out because you got something you want to say about the stocks that just went up or something. But the flags we sell in this country, the United States flag, you know, good old red, white, and blue, 50 stars. Well, flag sales are up 15% since our president took office. That tells me that patriotism is surging in our country, brother.
I agree. I think Donald Trump's made it popular to love your country again. I don't think the past 8 years with Obama were a healthy environment for people to be patriots. And two things I wanted to mention real quick on this subject was consumer confidence is at a 17-year high. That means people are out spending money. That means that the wheels of the economy are turning for everyone. Another thing is that just today it's on Drudge Report that they broke another record with the S&P stock index, that we had another record-breaking day in the stock market. Now, if that doesn't show normal Americans that the economy is booming, I don't know what could. A 17-year high in consumer confidence levels. People feel, safe in their jobs. They don't feel like they're going to be laid off when our president is saying and making deals to bring companies back here. I mean, for the past, you got to think, how beat down were the American people, Donald? I mean, for not just 8 years with Obama, but even the years before that. NAFTA went into effect almost 20 years ago with Clinton. So for 20 years, we've known that our companies were being just shipped out the door overseas. People were getting laid off everywhere. Factories were closing.
Oh, man, it was getting bad.
We knew as Americans that something was wrong, but what could we do to fix it when everyone in D.C. was on the take? They were all taking money from the special interests and from all these global interests that want no borders. Like Hillary's email said, open borders and open trade. These people with money, these power brokers, are serious about destabilizing our nation because they want to destabilize the nation so they can come in and try to do their creative things, get rid of our Constitution, move us toward a UN charter society where we all live in regions like region 1 through 7 or 1 through 5. I mean, these people are serious about it. The UN, the American people need to pull out of the UN altogether if possible. If we can't pull out all the way, we need to limit the UN's ability, because right now the way it's written with the UN, Donald, their charters supersede our Constitution and rule of law, and that's totally illegal.
We don't. I've told you. I think we should get rid of the UN. We don't. They need us more than we need them, Todd.
It was created for one purpose, which was to bring countries together for a global government. That's the only reason. And if you read the charters, and I know it's boring to a lot of people, and they don't get into it, but if you read what their plans are about what they want to do to families and how they want to break up the family unit, and you can't call mom or dad
Wait
dad.
a minute, Todd. That's funny you said that. That's funny you said family unit, Todd, because I was thinking about that today. It's like ESP or something. I didn't mean to break into what you said.
That's okay.
You said something there, family unit, Todd, and I've noticed in this country, as of the last 5 years, that the family unit is breaking apart. What's going on, Todd? What's going on, though, man? Why are these families breaking apart?
It's been happening much longer than that. There are studies out that show that children raised in fatherless homes are like 9 to 10 times more likely to end up in jail. There's all this information out there that says that, if you come from a single parent household, you're more likely to not do well in life because you don't have stability. That's what it boils down to.
Todd, that's wrong, though. That's wrong because my mother, she raised 6 children by herself, Todd.
I'm just saying these are statistics that are out there.
But I'm serious, though, man. My mom was really poor. My dad, I'm not going to talk bad about my dad because he's dead, but my mom did raise 6 children, Todd. And what she did do, she always owned her own home. She would buy these houses and fix them up and resell them. And
that's good.
She only had a 3rd grade education, my mother did. But she was really good. Her credit's like the best. And she used to grow big gardens, Todd, when I was a kid. And I lived off a lot of canned food, man. I grew up on canned stuff. And,
garden food's the best food.
Man, I grew up on it. But I just want to tell you about China. Since we was talking about it earlier, you brought it up. I don't know if you brought it up or I brought it up, but anyway, I didn't mean to cut in on you, Todd. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Go ahead, Don.
But China. I read this the other day, and it scares me, Todd. And this got to do with North Korea too, and Russia. But China unveiled this new weapon. Now it's got a funky name. Don't laugh at the name, but it's called the Dongfeng 41, and it's some kind of hypersonic multi-nuke weapon. They said this weapon can travel speeds of up to over 19,000 miles an hour, Todd. And it scares me. The world should get ready. I'm telling you, all these countries, I told you once before, there's 9 countries that are nuclear right now. And you know, if you take 9 men, just say you got 9 men, and all of them owns a gun, eventually, one of those men are going to use the gun, Todd. So my advice to every American out there, and I'm sure you would give the same advice, I would be preparing for something that maybe not a nuclear war, but any kind of catastrophe. Everybody out there at least needs to be prepared to survive for at least a month, maybe 2 months. You should have water and food on hand, Todd. Do you agree with me on that?
I do agree. I would always recommend people be ready for 3 months at least, especially in the winter. Especially in the winter, because it takes people on fixed income a little longer to stock up.
It does.
If you wanted to take and just get some extra canned goods like canned ham, canned meats, Spam, things to eat, beans,
rice and beans. Yeah.
Think about what your body needs, protein, and get the healthiest stuff you can get, and stock up on water.
What kind of water was it, Todd, that you told me to buy? Not that natural, not that spring water. What kind of water is it you like?
I prefer personally purified water.
Purified.
And I prefer that over spring water, but I just think it tastes better.
Well, you remember last week we kind of ended the show. We were talking about we couldn't figure out this act. Well, I looked it up, so let's talk about it a little bit, Todd. And
sure.
You was right last week, but we didn't know the year. It was called the Act of 1871, and that established the District of Columbia. And I'm pretty sure that's what you said last week, but we didn't have that year right. But I looked up the Act of 1871. That's what my friend Les, he's a preacher, that's what he's been talking about. And it basically, Todd, what it says is it formed a corporation called the United States, the corporation. The United States, the corporation. Now, this is owned by interests. They moved in, these special interests, other banks and foreign banks. What they did, Todd, they moved in and they shoved the original Constitution into a dustpan. Now, our original Constitution, Todd, it used to say the Constitution for the United States of America. Now, when you see a Constitution, it says the Constitution of the United States of America. Now, a lot of people don't think, well, that one word, well, big deal, that one word. But Todd, will you please tell everybody out there how big of a deal that one word is on changing our Constitution, please?
Okay, sure. When anytime a legal word is changed in a document, there's a reason behind it. And most of our laws, people may not know this, some of the lawyers out there listening will be totally aware. Anytime a bill is written, every word is defined in a code of federal regulations. Anything that might need a definition is always defined. They've done this before, but that's an older one. That might have been the first one where they made a change so subtle that changed the whole meaning of what the document was about. But the United States is a corporation. I am aware of that.
So that is true. That is true,
yeah.
Todd.
Yeah, municipalities are also incorporated for insurance purposes, so they can pay out if an officer guns down a civilian. Everyone has insurance. It goes to the local city limits, and also the county level is probably also somehow insured and incorporated. But this all started, that is different than the Act of 1871, but the Act of 1871, I still haven't read it yet, Donald.
You need to, Todd. It's pretty interesting.
They've done this with things like the Patriot Act, where they say if you're a domestic terrorist, or you can, be killed or whatever by the government.
I was reading about that. I didn't think we was allowed to do that, but apparently our government has changed, man. They've changed, brother.
Yeah, when I read about that under Obama, he signed that. Well, he reauthorized it, but I'm getting him confused. I'm getting him confused.
Something to do with that too? Bush Jr. had something to do with that.
Bush started the Patriot Act. Obama signed the NDAA, which authorized the killing. I got those two mixed up. But the Patriot Act is very bad as well, and the same thing applies to both with domestic terrorism. They purposefully did not define the word domestic terrorist so that law enforcement or whoever could apply it to anyone they wanted. And my big point about that is, what makes someone a domestic terrorist? Because, what we're doing right now, speaking out against the government, is that domestic terrorism while we're just commenting on the news?
I wonder. Well, we're actually going a little bit further than that, though.
But let me make a good analogy real quick. The liberal left is out protesting and rioting in the streets. They're blocking traffic. They're impeding the flow of other people's right to, the pursuit of happiness. When you block the traffic, you're breaking someone else's rights up because they're trying to travel the road freely. So protesting is not supposed to violate someone else's rights. In the liberal left, they're burning cities to the ground like in Baltimore. Yep. They're chanting, kill cops, fry them like bacon out in Dallas, and 6 officers were unfortunately killed because of this type of mentality.
Removing statues.
Taking down monuments because their feelings are hurt all of a sudden after hundreds of years. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's like they all need a pacifier shoved in their mouth. They all need rock to sleep while the rest of us make America great again. That's how I feel about it, but
well, let them eat their raw dough, Todd. We'll eat the good pizza, brother.
Well, that's what I mean. It's a bad way for our country to turn where we pacify groups of people that are wrong, both legally, morally, and ethically, but we have other people that want to make the country prosper, but conservatives to me are the only ones that have common sense in a lot of ways. I'm not downing all Democrats. Maybe a lot of them are uninformed because they're just taught that all Democrats are for the average person. Well, are they really? Have they ever done anything except spend us into debt? I mean,
you can't tax your way out of problems, Todd. It's always tax the country to death.
If you look at history, it's always the Republicans that fix the problems. It's not Democrats that fix the financial problems of the country. It's always Republicans. I don't know if it's because they're better with money, or people say, well, the Republicans are the party of the rich. Well, maybe rich people flock to the Republican Party because they are conservative with their dollars, and they don't go around like Democrats and try to spend other people's money. The fact that they say it out loud, that they want to take from the rich and disperse it and redistribute wealth.
That's what Obama said.
It's asinine. It's asinine. It's ridiculous. You don't take someone's wealth in this country and pass it out to someone else. You just don't do it. It's illegal. It's called theft. That's what taxation is. Taxation is theft. But at least with taxes, the people get something for it. We don't get anything for it out of these plans that the Democrats have.
Well, thank God, Todd, we have a businessman now as president. And we was talking about that the other day. Just think about it, Todd. And what you said is true. It's totally true. What you said, everything you said was true. But listen, like me, I dropped out of high school. Biggest mistake in my life, but I had to go to work. But anyway, if a man goes to high school or a woman and graduates, then they continue on to college, and they spend, I don't know how many years in college, 4 or 7 years to become wealthy, Todd. I don't think it's right because they made the right decisions in life, and they're living the American dream. I don't think it is right for these Democrats to come after their wealth. They made the right decisions.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. It burns me. But my point is, Todd, a poor man never gave me a job.
Right.
In the rich, you cannot tax and regulate these big corporations to death. We need the rich man to create jobs for the poor people. When are they going to understand that, man?
Listen, the liberal left also undercuts all the females who've made a fortune in this country. There are a lot of women who are millionaires who run successful businesses, and they don't talk about that because it hurts the argument that, oh, women aren't paid as much as men. But when you really dig into the numbers, you find out that's not even true. They tell so many lies on the left that it's hard for people to even understand what they're being told because they're brainwashed. It's a lot of brainwashing, and that goes back to like this dangled carrot in front of all the illegal immigrants with DACA, and the Democrats want to give the pathway to citizenship because they've promised for so many years that was going to happen because they just let them flow in like, river running over a cliff.
I find it hard to understand. Why would somebody want to destroy our country? I mean, the Democratic Party,
they're on the take.
With the far left. Why would they want to destroy
because
our
they're
country?
bordering on socialist and communist. And the Communist Workers' Party plans to take over business like, the bailouts. That was one of the first steps where they took over GM and called it Government Motors. I mean, that's what they should have done.
Motors. But
that's
anyway,
what they should have done.
I found out today something.
But you know what?
Bernie Sanders is running again in 2020. They said
that is a horrible fucking joke, and it really is. And Hillary too. The Democrats don't want Hillary. Most of them don't want Bernie either. But some poll somewhere said he might be able to compete with Trump. Well, no, it's not going to happen, people.
No.
Let me tell you why. The minute you have almost a known communist like Bernie Sanders up there running for president, it's all going to come out. I hope the man lives to be 150. I don't care how old he lives to be, but I hope he has a healthy, long life, because I don't think Bernie's necessarily evil. But on the other end of the spectrum, you've got this nasty disease that won't go away. It's like a canker sore that keeps coming back. And she's blonde-headed and likes pantsuits, and she's everywhere I don't want to be.
Not her name again.
I'm not going to say it, but she's out there, and she'd like to come back too, and they don't want her. She's rejected by her own party. She's riddled in all of it.
I'm glad.
So, if the Democrats don't get it together, they are going to run a socialist or a communist, they are going to do that.
Let's just say it. Hey, we're calling them socialists. Let's just go ahead and say it for what it is, Todd. I don't even think it's socialist anymore. They're communists, brother.
I really believe it. I really believe it. I hate to label everybody that way, Donald, but if they don't understand that we live in a free market country with rights guaranteed by a constitution that we all should want to protect, not rip apart and replace with their little wet spank bank dream. If they want to replace our documents with their own, then they need to go do that in their own country somewhere, because we are Americans and we will fight for America because of the fact of all those soldiers, both men and women, who've given the ultimate sacrifice for this nation. That's why America will not fail, is because you've got thousands of military families that honor their loved ones who gave the ultimate sacrifice and serve this nation, and you've got all the other people that love their rights. So it's never going to happen. And luckily for us, Donald Trump came into the picture when he did, right at the precipice of total rampant corruption for 8 years.
Well, if he hadn't came in, it would have been over with for our country. But Todd, to me, we got 15 minutes left, so we better start going through these pretty quick. I got a lot of stuff left to cover.
Go ahead.
To me, Todd, that saying, we the people, by the people, for the people, it has no meaning anymore. It's just something that politicians like to say nowadays. It has no meaning. And your birth certificate is on the New York Stock Exchange. We're all slaves. We're sold as collateral to the bank. We're traded like cattle. Once your parents sign your birth certificate, you're just signed away. They just signed away your worth. Look it up, Todd, or you, or everybody out there.
Hello, Donald. You sound like a conspiracy theorist, even though everything you said is true. I know it's true because I've looked it up.
I sound like one, but people do need to look it up, Todd, because it is true.
Yeah.
Trump, Todd, I just want you Trump. That's a compliment. That's a compliment, right? But anyway, Todd, let's we only got a little bit left. We're up to 8. We got a little bit left, but I want to talk a little bit about this LeVar Ball guy, this father of this UCLA player that ungrateful father. Well, his son shoplifted, and you know what? I'm against shoplifting anywhere. I wouldn't even want Chinese people coming to America shoplifting. Yes, they did need punished, but well, here's anyway. Trump. Go
Can
ahead.
I make a quick analogy? This
ahead.
reminds me of the same thing that happened with the mayor down in Puerto Rico. All of a sudden, something's happened, and then all of a sudden, somebody's got to turn on Trump. The mayor turned on Trump once the Democrats got a hold of her. Now, all of a sudden, this father, who you know is happy to have his son back, all of a sudden, he's got to turn on Donald Trump. And
Everybody
the Democrats,
turns on Trump.
they have no. This the Democrat operatives go out just like Obama went around talking to all these judges to get the travel ban injunctions and to stop Trump. They're trying to make him look like Obama looked for 8 years, a lame duck president, and Trump's not going to go out a lame duck president. It's not going to happen. They might as well give it up, because
Well,
that's what's really going on.
Can I tell you
They're
what he
trying to
blasted out,
undermine him
though?
at any turn. Go ahead.
Well, Trump blasted out this LeVar Ball guy. I mean, that's what I was trying to tell you, that he told this guy, basically, man, he blasted out some bad tweets, this guy, and I don't blame him. Let me find it here. I wrote it down. Now, Trump told the guy, I guess he tweeted him, he said, his name was LeVar Ball, and let me look what I got here. Well, LeVar Ball thinks that Trump had nothing to do with his son getting out of prison. Well, last Wednesday morning, Trump started tweeting, and it said, it wasn't the White House, it wasn't the State Department, it wasn't Father LeVar's so-called people on the ground in China that got his son out of a long-term prison sentence. It was me. And now, I don't think everyone, like I said, should be stealing, but the man needs to say thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you. Thank you.
You know, I'd be totally grateful if the President of the United States spoke to the President of China and got my son released for something like that. I mean, in a communist country, number one, Americans should know not to go to any foreign country and commit crimes when they have laws like they do in some of these countries. I'd be grateful to have my child back
Me
early.
too. You know what, Todd, we better do? You know what we better say? Is we better ask anybody out there that's listening to this, anybody out there that has any ties with President Donald J. Trump, you know what would be a really good Christmas present for me or Todd would be to meet Donald Trump and shake his hand. Now, Todd, I did have a chance. I did meet Donald Trump Jr. I shook his hand. I had about a 2 or 3 minute conversation. The man is as common and decent man as you would ever meet. Donald Trump Jr. is, Todd.
Well, Donald, that I totally believe you because I saw the picture of you and him, and I also know that if they had evil intent, it would have already came out by now, because you've literally got salivating Democrats that are just frothing at the mouth like they've got rabies, trying to bring the president and his family down. So if there was any stone they haven't turned over, left, they would have found something by now. And because they can't make anything stick, I mean, I have no doubt that the man's a good man. He's been honest before he came in. He turned over all his emails to Robert Mueller, and nothing's happened to him. He's not lied under oath. Jeff Sessions has not lied under oath, and the Democrats just keep frothing at the mouth like they have a bad case of anti-American rabies, and they just want to sink their teeth into somebody, and they can't find anybody yet to do it. But all roads lead back to the real crime and the real corruption of the Clinton Foundation.
Well, we all know that, Todd, and I think
I'm just saying.
It is. I mean, it's the truth, and I'm going to go ahead and say. I'll go ahead and say this. I want to see an indictment. That's when I'm going to say her name again, when I see an indictment, and we better see one soon. But anyway, Todd,
I'm hearing rumors, though, that there's lots and lots of indictments coming. So I hope they're true, but they're just rumors at this point.
Let's hope. Todd, people keep asking me that, and I tell them, I said, well, I don't know, and let's hope this whole Mueller thing this pans out. Let's hope he goes after the real criminal. We all know who the real criminal here is.
Robert Mueller's got dirty hands. He can't investigate himself.
Well, he's a Democrat. We know that, and he's one of them far lefties too, by the way. He's not a moderate. But anyway, Todd, it's that time of our show, Mr. Doyle. Did you write down any patriotic quotes this week?
Oh, I didn't know we were going to do that again.
Oh, man, this is going to be a weekly thing. Me and you are going to spout off some patriotic quotes. But I wrote down a few, Todd, tonight. And plus, every week, I'm going to make a little spot where I do a few shout-outs. And tonight, I'll let you do it. You can do a few shout-outs. How's that sound, Todd?
I'm a lonely soul, Donald. I have no one to shout out.
Oh, you got somebody
Bang.
to shout out to. All right, Todd. Patriotic quotes. Let's go to number one. Are you ready? I'm
Sure.
going to read them to you, and I'll just see how you like them, okay?
I'm not going to tell you if I like them or not, but go ahead.
Why? You're afraid of who might have wrote them. No, I'm not going to trick you this time, Todd. I'm not going to try to trick you into the Bill Clinton's patriotic quote.
It's gonna take me a while to get over that one.
I'm sorry. I know.
That's okay.
You'll probably unfriend me for doing that.
I'm
sorry.
No.
Well, anyway, first patriotic quote is, "I like to see a man proud of the place in which he lives. I like to see a man live so that his place will be proud of him." Now, that's awesome. That was written by good old honest Abe Lincoln, man. Did you like that one?
Yeah.
All right. My second patriotic quote is, "Patriotism is not short, frenzied outburst of emotion, but the tranquil and steady dedication of a lifetime." I love that.
That's a good one.
Because that kind of goes back to what I always say about being a part-time patriot. It's like being a Christian. I mean, if you're a Christian, you got to be a Christian full-time. And being a patriot, you got to be a patriot full-time, man. You just can't pick and choose like I'm going to be a patriot because it's Memorial Day, or I'm going to be a patriot today. Go ahead.
Can I
got
just
8 minutes left? Go ahead.
I just want to say one thing about this. It's not all about being a patriot for me. It's about our citizenry as a whole. If you leave patriotism out of it, but you still want to be a good citizen of your country, you're going to have patriotism with that. But most citizens of the country, because of either their jobs or whatever, they don't have the time to be well informed. And a lot of people, unfortunately, depend on the mainstream media. That's dying. It's dinosaur media now.
I'm into patriotism, though, Todd. I am going to be into patriotism, and I did learn something.
No.
I learned something.
You're missing the point of what I'm trying to say. If our whole citizenry as a whole was an active citizenry that had, the tools at their fingertips to find the information they need, we would be a better citizenry that was more patriotic, and we wouldn't have the threat of like a Bernie Sanders democratic socialist or new communism, whatever they want to label it as. We wouldn't have those types of threats if we had a healthy citizenry, is what I was trying to get at.
Well, I always thought that the pecking order was God, family, and country. But I was told, and I think I was wrong, it is God, country, then family. And I said, well, wait a minute, my family should come before the country. But I was told that if you love your country, you are taking care of your family. So I guess that makes sense. But anyway, yeah, I don't know, Todd, but it just seems to me that on Veterans Day, people want to be patriotic. Memorial Day, I'm not
cutting down. I'm not cutting down anything you said, though. I think that our citizenry has failed. I mean, like you made the analogy about driving the truck, was it Reagan, and then Trump got on the
truck. Reagan had us on a straight road, and Trump has he's going
what happened
country right now to get us back to that straight road.
My point is, where was the citizenry if there was nobody at the wheel? If it was just rampant corruption for 8 years, where was the people? You see what I mean? The people have to stick together besides all politics and know we are all Americans, and that unifying message that we are all Americans regardless of color of our skin, political beliefs, we're all Americans, and we need to remember that, because what happens if there's ever no one at the wheel driving the ship,
well, Todd, when could we all become Americans? I would love to see that day when we're all just Americans. We're not African Americans. We're not white Americans.
Right.
Let's just all be Americans. I've been preaching that for a long time, and for some reason, a lot of people still don't get it. But number three, Todd,
But some do. Some do.
Well,
some do get it.
I hope they do. But
okay.
Number three, what is the essence of America? Finding and maintaining that perfect, delicate balance between freedom to and freedom from. I think that was great.
That's a good one.
That was written from some lady named Marilyn Voss Squat or something like that. I can't really pronounce her name. But I've got one more patriotic quote, and it says, "If you don't love our country, then we patriots don't love you. Now, you know who that was written by?
No.
Me.
Oh, yeah? That's a good one, too.
That was written by me. But anyway, I want to get on with my shout-outs. I want to give a big shout-out, Todd. And a lot of these people are people that's in our group, and I told them, if I don't get to them like last week or this week, I'll get to them eventually. Chris Fishwater, good guy, Todd. We got to give him a shout-out. You know Chris Fishwater.
He is a good guy.
All right, my next shout-out, and you know this person. I think you're going to give a shout-out to her, too. Marilyn Musket. We got to give a shout-out to Marilyn Musket.
He's awesome.
He is awesome. Another shout out, Charlene Ralston. Good lady.
She's awesome too.
She's a good lady. Debbie Stern. I want to mention her tonight.
She's great as well.
I want to mention Kathy McKinney, and I want to mention Terry McLaughlin and Francis Marion. Todd, I do look up to Francis. He is. I think he's a great patriot, and what he does great things for this country. And that's it for my patriot quotes.
I have a quote.
All right, let's hear it, Mr. Doyle.
I looked it up because I misspoke the very first show when I mentioned it.
I doubt that. You don't.
No, I did. I paraphrased.
You don't misspell things or missay things many times.
I paraphrased it.
Okay.
But it's quote: In the beginning of a change, the patriot is a scarce man, and brave and hated and scorned. When his cause succeeds, the timid join him, for then it costs nothing to be a patriot. That's by Mark Twain. And what that means is, in the beginning of a change in society, the one speaking up is the patriot. He is a scarce man. There are few of them. And brave at the same time, but also hated and scorned by others who think he's wrong or think he's not right or something. But when that man's cause succeeds, the weak join him, because then it costs them nothing to be free, is what that means.
Did you bring it off your head? Did you remember that?
No, I looked it up so I said it correctly. I'll read it again. In the beginning of a change, the patriot is a scarce man, and brave, and hated, and scorned. When his cause succeeds, the timid join him, for then it costs nothing to be a patriot. That's by Mark Twain.
You know what that means to me, though? What I get out of that?
Go ahead.
That to me is like our president, Donald Trump. He did start this patriotic movement, and a lot of timid people came out and voted for him. Now,
that's right.
And a lot
That's
of
a good analogy,
today,
Donald.
Yes, Todd. And well, what you said was a good patriotic quote. But a lot of patriots, Donald Trump made patriotic cool again. He really did, Todd. He's bringing back the patriotic movement to our country. I love the man. I just can't say enough good things about him. If they want to eat the raw pizza dough, them far left liberals, let them eat their dough. I'm going to have the good pizza that our president's making, brother.
Well, about that quote, I've been at this, like I said, 20 years at least, trying to inform and educate people, and I've seen firsthand the timid and the weak, and I've been hated and scorned, especially around 9/11 and information that came out that no one wanted to hear, but it was out there, and we have to face those hard facts sometimes, and whatever the issue may be, we need the real facts, we need documentation, and we need the real story. So truth is so important for me personally, and I think for our country, and I think with little things like declassifying JFK documents and other things. I think Trump is trying to be one of the most transparent presidents ever. There are going to be classified issues he can't tell the American people, but I do believe that he's trying to do good for our country. I don't believe he had to do this job. I think he could have lived out his life in his glory days and never touched the office of president and still been a happy person. But
I couldn't blame him, no, Tyler. I couldn't blame the man if he doesn't run in 2020. I just couldn't blame him.
He loves the nation, and he knows how bad it was because he knew these people. He knew what they were doing. He was a lobbyist, sort of, for his company. So he knows how bad it really was. The American people, it might take 20 to 50 to 100 years, Donald, for the American public to fully understand how bad it really was for Donald Trump to run.
There will be a Mount Trumpmore one day, Todd.
I believe there will be. I think he's going to go down in the history books as one of the greatest presidents that took over up against all kinds of obstacles, and he did it anyway. And I think more people, our citizenry, should do it anyway. Make our country the best it can be, and not be part of this communist resistance
And bring our
socialist
country down.
Yeah, that's all they're doing.
Let's up, like you said. Let's not wish the pilot to fail, because we all crash and burn.
Well, it's like they pulled a Tanya Harding and want to just break somebody's legs on the
legs.
Yeah.
But Todd, why haven't we got a warning yet? It's after 9 o'clock. We usually get a warning.
We just have a great show. That's
and
why
I don't know why, but I had something I was going to say, but at this time right here, I've actually forgot what I was going to say, and that normally don't happen to me. By the way, Todd, why I do what I do by making videos and I get on here and talk, Todd, the main reason I do this, I don't do this for money, Todd. I do this because I have two daughters, I have 4 grandsons, and I want not only my children and grandchildren to grow up and have the same freedoms that we had when we was growing up, but I want it because of all of our children and all of our great-grandchildren and all of our whatever. I want all of the children in the future to grow up and have the freedoms and liberties that me and you had while we was young.
That's right.
All right, we just got our thing. We're going off air, you guys. I just want to tell everybody out there, God bless you, God bless America, and pray for our president, for God to give him the strength to make the right decisions in this country, and wisdom. God bless everybody out there listening to Armed Radio.
There ain't no room for the hopeless.